of passion and people that are just really happy to give these players a home.
Absolutely, and honestly, it looks like we're actually just about getting ready to start up our next match. And again, these are all faces that I am familiar with, and very excited to be seeing. Henlo, I actually think is from more of the New York region. I could be wrong, but I think Henlo traveled to Florida for Gatorland and now has come around
representing.
And Lexi, I believe, is from Georgia, but I could also be wrong about that because she was at MomoCon and came very close to winning MomoCon.
I mean, people travel to these lands, right? Because,
yes,
you know, Georgia's right next to Florida, you know. New York, honestly, like a flight from New York to Florida is like $80. Like, it's for some reason, those flights are insanely cheap. So it's very easy to go to and fro. So my little Henlo's team gonna be representing Florida. Obviously,
yes.
Going to be coming in from this at the Gatorland, and they're going to be facing off against Prickly Pear, representing Arizona, the Sunset Surge LAN. And what's interesting about this is that Prickly Pear is the only team today to not drop a single game. And they were talking about one thing they were looking forward to in this tournament was making sure that the tournament was nothing was close and that they can win without much of a struggle. And so far, they're kind of proving that right.
Well, I mean, it would be kind of a bummer for
us.
For us,
the
yeah, to
at
just
home.
have these 2-3-0 sets and just have it be done there. But, like, you know, I am open to it. I'm open to seeing, like, as exciting as it is to see, like, close 2-3 matches and how hype it is. It's also cool to see people kind of flex and go off and show how badly they wanted things too.
And speaking of flex, my little Henlo talked about how they want to show off. They want to win this whole tournament and show off how good Wiper is. So they want to try to flex out this weapon because people are saying Wiper's not that good or Wiper's like okay, it's not at the top. They want like no, this is like a meta-changing weapon. This is like one of the best weapons, and you guys are just not playing it right. Yeah, any thoughts on that?
I don't know who they're talking to who thinks that Wiper is like not good enough, but I don't know. I've never really like thought Wiper was never good enough. Like I need to actually like look at this. Like who is underrating Wiper? Can you name names?
Someone on the My Little Henlo team.
Well,
it was in the notes that we were given, you know, and I didn't see there was no name located underneath it. It was just My Little Henlo. So
if Wiper isn't good,
trying to create a narrative, you know,
a narrative. Well, do we have Wipers on Prickly Pear? I'm pretty sure we do.
So it'd be like a Wiper versus Wiper type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, then they wouldn't really be proving that much. I guess if the top two teams in the tournament are both playing Wiper, no one's
then
really
you proved it, right?
There. Yeah, no one's going to be sitting there questioning if the weapon's good. Like, oh, obviously, we're going to blame our weapons for getting us to the top spots in the tournament. I'm just kidding. We honestly, I do agree with a lot of people who say like weapon comp isn't everything. I think you can get away with a lot of things in Splatoon. A lot of the time, it's not going to be the reason why you win or lose a game. I think it's about balance and knowing how to put together a comp. Like it's a puzzle more or less, right? You can play probably any weapon in the game, but it's what you surround it with that matters the most. So if you have like a specific niche pick, like go for it.
You get that one selfish player, right? Mm-hmm. And then you make the other three play around said selfish player, and then any comp can work.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like building a deck in a card game.
There's a little bit of give and take. Well, yeah, you got your boss card, and then you have to plan around the boss card. So you just got to decide.
I got my Giratina EX.
Who's your Vanguard?
It works with everything. Probably Darkrai EX.
My Vanguard is going to be we're talking about two different card games.
What, we are?
Well, yeah.
I'm talking about Yu-Gi-Oh. What are you talking about?
Table Turf.
Oh, dude, I love Table Turf. That's like Subway Surfers, right? That's like that game on the phone, right? Subway Surfers.
Yeah, there's a lot of like straight lines, and then the bigger number wins.
Yo, what's your high score in Subway Surfer? I'm about to judge you real hard.
Does it count watching those brain rot videos with the story times?
Sure. With like the Family Guy clip in the bottom left of the screen.
Yes, and the slime and the scooping. Yes. Yeah. If so, I'm the world champ.
Hey, you know what? It's there for a reason. Honestly, I'm shocked this stream doesn't have it. You know, like I think right now on this screen in particular, we could have like maybe like Subway Surfers happening like right here, like in the middle of the screen, and then like maybe like a clip of Family Guy could be like somewhere like down there or something, and then maybe just see numbers going up for no reason in particular, just a random counter just going up, saying like stocks go up or something, and it's just like right there. And I think you'd have yourself a pretty good stream. This is why they don't have me running streams, by the way.
I actually haven't seen the brain rot that you're talking about with the numbers on top. Maybe
you've never just seen like numbers going up like on a stream, like for no reason, no rhyme or reason.
I like the videos. I like the brain rot when they're like in a factory in China and they're like putting together like clothing or like tools or something.
Ooh, have you ever seen those videos of like those people in the conveyor belts where they grab like the bottles of whiskey, the Maker's Mark specifically, and they pour it into the thing to make sure they get like the red stuff all over the lid.
Yeah,
and it's just
wax.
I don't know. Yeah, and it's apparently they're supposed to tell employees to like, hey, at once or twice a shift, make sure you get one real deep in there, so it's like supposed to be like a special edition, because apparently people seek for those, and it was just really fascinating just watching people do that for hours while playing Flappy Bird.
Oh yeah, well it looks like we're getting into the game. We haven't been talking about Splatoon for a while, but you know.
What's Splatoon?
I think it's this game that came out in like 2015, but I'm not too sure.
Yo, is that a wiper?
Okay. Wait, no way!
No way! A wiper from Henlo?
Alright, Henlo, let's see what you do this time. I'm, you know, big fan of Sondermom, so let's go.
Alright, so we got Florida facing off against Arizona right now. My little Henlo currently having in control, but you know, it's probably not going to be lasting for too long, so I'm seeing a lot of splats go down. Unfortunately, going on the side of the Sunset Surge representing team, Prickly Pear, going to get knocked down immediately. That's going to be Pepe going down. Going to give my little Henlo a very good start for this match.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised. Well, actually, I can't be that surprised. This is the top seed of the tournament here. But a very dominating lead for them at the very beginning there. Blob getting able into a good position here with that bamboo. Is going to run a little bit forward here, but is going to have to back away. That crab tank is going to be no match for that bamboos there. Unfortunately, that is just a stick versus a tank. We know who wins that. So going back into a bit of a neutral situation here. Both of these teams not in too bad of a position here, but never mind. As I am saying that, we are seeing a few members of my little Henlo going down here. That is going to be a very simple lead for Prickly Pear. How is my little Henlo going to get back into this, Aussie?
I don't know. I saw Pepe go super deep into enemy line territory for a 1v3, and somehow they still have control. Like, all four of them are stuck back here. My little Henlo has to find a way to, like, shut this down and try to get back in towards the center, because right now, Henlo's just painting for free, building up the meter, getting the zone back onto their thing, and now going to be able to turn the tides now. Adding on the penalty points, we have ourselves a more of a neutral game.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, Henlo making great strides for that wiper there, trying to prove specifically why that weapon works out. Able to cap that zone basically by themselves with that hammer moving up, as their pencil was kind of in a bad position there to help out. But no worries. Henlo, once again, has that hammer basically at the ready, is going to use that in tandem with that crab tank, is able to take out Pepe. That's actually a huge relief for the members of my little Henlo there, not having to worry about Pepe running in anytime soon here. And we have that Slosher watching these ledges on the left side here, is going to be able to get some good height onto Pepe once again. That trade is extremely valuable for them. 10 seconds left to go. They have the lead once again. Is this Cade and that splash in zone? There's a jump in happening here, but wow, a very quick cap back into the favor of the Sunset Surge representing team.
With 3 seconds left on the clock, they were able to finally just like put in one Hail Mary to keep this game alive for a little bit longer. It wasn't for long, but the penalty points are just enough for them to try to recuperate and not try to stagger out their team a little bit here. Coming back over to reset, Prickly Pear is going to try to build up some meter, wait to try to see if they can try to find someone overextending somewhere. Right now, Henlo is playing very safe from the rest of the team as well. Pepe finally going to get let the supers go, and that's going to be it. It's going to be a pick on Henlo from the Trizuga. Oh no, going to get another pick on top of that. Pepe playing very safe, but unfortunately he gets called out by one of the bombs coming out from Spiel.
Yeah, safe only gets you so far when you're playing against a Zuka there. Henlo not quite able to avoid it, but we're looking down very small penalty points. That bubble's going to be coming out right next to the zone. All these bombs coming out, but that is not enough. That penalty ticked down fast enough for Henlo to take that game 1.
Prickly Pear losing their first game of the tournament here in winners finals of this bracket. You gotta remember, these are the 2 best teams right now that have proven themselves to get all the way up to this part of the bracket, and it was kind of a close game to start things off. A complete 180 from the previous set that we watched. So this is kind of like the matches we were definitely looking forward to in the likes of winners finals. My Little Henlo up 1-0 in this race to 3.
Yeah, wow. Obviously, that's the position you're going to be wanting to stay in for as long as possible, having that upper hand on your opposing team, especially one that is just as scary and threatening as Prickly Pear. So going forward in this, what trends I saw the most in this game were very explosive pushes from both sides. Not a lot of steadiness. There was, like, I guess the closest thing to steady we saw came out of Prickly Pear when they had the zone for so long. But it just felt like Henlo was able to, well, My Little Henlo was able to break in so many times that it was just enough to push them over the edge there and get that game.
Yeah, one thing I also noticed was that I felt like Pepe was going a little bit too ham at times. I feel like kind of just going into enemy lines a little bit too often there, kind of like maybe trying to like prove themselves, like overextend, try to like feel like they need to like put more up on the table to try to get something cooking to like make up for the earlier loss. And now we just got to shake that off because that's just game 1. It's a brand new game, you know, clean slate. Let's see what we can do here at Umami Ruins for Prickly Pear, because I would love to see this go to a game 5.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I feel like Pepe tries to get their foot in the door quite a bit for their team. And when it pays off, it does extremely well. But when it doesn't, you get games like that. So we'll see how that works out as a strategy for this game here, especially with Clam Blitz on a map like Umami, where your biggest struggle is just getting into the base to begin with. So man numbers are insanely advantageous, maybe more than other maps. So very early special popping coming out from Splat. We have that crab tank coming out here. Grabbing that cooler is going to be huge. We're going to be moving up here onto that right side. But good intuition there, actually, finding Eevee, because you never know where that carbon is going to be sitting.
Yeah, just waiting in the ink, waiting for them to find their mark here with the Clam Blitz. It's going to be already one getting broken up from My Little Henlo. Not going to get too many points out of it, though. Just got the Power Clam plus one additional one. But still better than just nothing. You know, getting that one additional clam. So it's going to even it up. We got the Pity Clam dropping down now for Prickly Pear as they're all starting to group up, because here comes the special. It's time to put the pedal to the metal. All 4 teammates going to dive in there, get the break over the barrel. Unfortunately, they were getting ready to play aggro. Everyone was already on the other side, opening up the net yet again.
Wow, I don't even know how they snuck in there. It looks like everybody was revving up to have a totally different situation happen here. But it looks like Eevee is going to be forced to play janitor for a moment here, popping that Zuka, just shooting it right towards the base of My Little Henlo here. We're getting a little hungry for revenge, as one might say. And it looks like we're getting rather close to a good situation. I don't know why we did that.
What? So maybe they just didn't see them, but that's okay, because Funky Eevee is going to get that big pick there on Henlo. That's going to turn them down to 1 person less, trying to find that next mark. Unfortunately, could not stay alive. That's okay. They got both super clams in. That's actually going to be enough to get them to lead, right? All they need to do is just get both clams in at the same time, the 20 points a pop, and now they have themselves a small lead. Again, the numbers don't tell the whole story. We got some more clams coming out. The Pity Clam coming on to the other side.
Yeah, and at this point, with the amount of penalty that they have, any power clam is going to regain them the lead. But this is really like tomato at this point, because like we can't be playing with these little tiny numbers, especially on a mode with such a forgiving overtime like Clam mode, Clam Blitz is, right? So obviously we're going to be wanting to aim for as high of a push as possible, which, you know, with how explosive my little Henlo was in the last game, they might be trying to look for something a bit more steady this go around. We do see that crab tank getting popped by Splat once again. It's being used a lot more defensively this time, and it's actually working out pretty well. We're keeping Eevee away from the basket, and I think that's threat level, you know, 1 at the moment, or pretty much any time during this game.
Yeah, putting the tanking crab tank, playing the defensive position. Is going to come right back here into the center screen. Pepe getting the complete Hail Mary shot with the Trizuga. Gets a second one on top of that. 3 for 3. Pepe on a tear. This is going to be the freest clam of your life. Doesn't even matter. You go down. You popped over the barrier. And that's what matters. Now we're cashing all those points in. 25 left to go.
Yeah, I'm amazed right now. Pepe just coming in clutch there. And this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. When Pepe pops off, and it leads to pushes like this. We're down to 25 there. That is more of an ideal number for Clam Blitz here. We see Shiny very comfortably chilling out in mid until that hammer came out and stopped things, but almost actually taking out the hammer in a trade there for a moment. Is absolutely going to be a tear though. Flop Stoppa picking up that power clam there is going to be able to throw that back to their support player, and running through mid trying to find a pick. Obviously, once again, we're going to be looking for that carbon roller and trying to paint them out and make sure that they cannot be a threat.
Oh my god, is that a 2-for-1 special? Henlo throwing out the hammer just willy-nilly, getting 2 splats in the process. It's going to be a free barrier to be able to get broken up. But is anyone around to get any mileage off of that? I feel like we just threw it in there and no one was around to capitalize.
Yeah, it's just going to be that Pencil forced to carry that power clam, and unfortunately with the capabilities of Pencil, they're not going to be able to get back to that power, the basket when it's being painted over so actively like it was. 40 seconds left to go. They still have that pity clam. They can use that for overtime if they need to, so they might try and opt into making a clam normally just off of the smaller ones on the ground before they kind of use their last resort option. 2 members down. Flopstopper running up there. Does know where the other aggro players are. Henlo there, getting that pick onto Shiny. We're moving up forward. We're getting towards that basket there. It looks like Pepe even opting to play defensively here. Sticking under that basket. 13 seconds left to go. We're looking at an overtime push here.
This could be the play of the game. We're thinking about it here. 5 seconds. They got the power clam. All you need is that one opening. They got a lot of splats on their table. There's a lot of ink there. They try to shoot it in there. We're entering overtime. We got another super clam right behind you. That's 2 splats coming out from Spiela. Has the power clam. Just needs to dunk it in there. And that's all you need to be able to take home that next victory. What in the world?
Wow, I was so nervous there. We saw that power clam being held by that crab tank user, and as you may know, you cannot toss that power clam when you're stuck in that position. You have got to see that entirely through, either by having that crab destroyed or just waiting out that timer there. So that could have become a very scary situation there if they were not able to get anything else in during that time, but just barely clutching it out there. What crazy plays from the frontliners on both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I just could not believe that there's so many like double and triple splats from like both teams, right? Like they're both going in there and it was like trading back and forth, and the entire game was super close. I thought Prickly Pear had that game in the bag, and then my little Henlo just found a way there at the very end, just waiting it very patiently, right? I think a worse team would have saw this opportunity right here, right, where they got 2 splats, and all 4 of them just would have pushed up right now. But instead, they play it a little bit more safe, right? They try to gather some more clams in the process, wait for the opportune moment, which is like right here, where Kata finally goes in there, sees the moment, takes it, and then this is the final one where Spiela was on the crab, had to get that super clam in there, and there was Henlo there as the support to throw in the single clam to secure the victory right afterwards. What a set, what a game.
Yeah, I mean, wow. We are sitting at potentially match point here. Tower control on ship shape, and I'm not gonna lie to you, Aussie, I have the same concerns with this map mode as I do with Sturgeon. This can get very scary very quickly. You have a very good and strong Pencil onto the side of my little Henlo, but it looks like Shiny opting to pull it out for themselves too. That is 2 pointy guys on the side of Oh my gosh, I forget their name every time. The Sunset Surge team.
Yeah, you know what? It's called number 2 pencil for a reason. You got 2 of them. Is going to jump here into this third game. Coming up here towards the center, already out the gate, getting a big splat there. Fortunately, not going to be able to get too much mileage out of that whole entire situation. Spiels is going to hide behind this corner here, try to avoid getting shot by said pencil. But now Pepe getting in pretty aggressive there to be able to find that splat.
Yeah, Pepe looking down the barrel of multiple jump-ins from the side of My Little Henlo there is going to have to dodge around that cooler bear there, but that Snipe Rider hitting a very good, accurate shot onto him is able to protect their team as they should. And look at that trade coming out onto Eevee as well. That is a big deal. Getting a Zuka out, that's a great trade to have.
Yes, absolutely. It's very funny to see them like just trying to get the specials out before they get splat, right? Because if you splat, you lose it all, and you don't want to be dealing with that. But now we've got the tower starting to move up bit by bit, but it's still very close. We're starting to slowly approach that first checkpoint, but it looks like we're going to shut that down right now. Prickly Pear taking back that tower, pushing it back. But I see some potential bombs coming into the fray of things as we're going to jump back towards the neutral.
Yeah, we're feeling a little chumpy here, and I'm not gonna lie to you, Aussie, somehow I missed the elephant in the room until now. We're seeing a red Clash Blaster. I don't even know the name of that specific Clash kit because, like, this is so absurd. No one plays this.
All blasters are the same, am I right? Up high.
No.
Coming back in with the Trizuka again. Not going to be able to get too much work out of that. We're going to come back over to get some potential snipes, looking for the backline at the checkpoint, getting it smashed open here from Prickly Pear, finding themselves with yet another lead, just like in the previous game. Let's see if the representatives from Gatorland, the My Little Henlo, will be able to try to, or Prickly Pear will be able to try to like find their mark.
Yeah, I mean, Eevee really crawling up into the spawn as far as they can here. They see that they're on that final checkpoint. They want to try and get this done with as quick as possible. Take this game and run away with it. Try and not let this be a 3-0 set. Eevee running towards that tower there. It's just going to be that splash left onto the side of My Little Henlo. They're going to have to make up a lot of space for their team very quickly. We're back in the 10-second mark. 5 seconds left to go. And what? What?
Absolute insanity. Blob getting pick by pick, but somehow Henlo finds a way and keeps guarding that tower. I thought for sure that was going to lead to a knockout immediately, but they are just surviving and still fighting for their lives as they're starting to slowly, bit by bit, play the aggressive game, and they nail themselves a wipeout with 4 points remaining, and there's still 2 minutes on the clock.
And the crazy thing about this all is that because it's so snowbally, I can still see them taking this game. It is still a very realistic possibility. What do you mean?
No, I just like you're 4 points away from putting your first point on the board, and now like nerves got to be setting in right now.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They're gonna want to try and get back in here, but you know, commentator's curse. That's gonna be Eevee going down right alongside their teammate there. Splat painting up their base as far as they can. They're gonna try and run towards Blop if they can because, you know, Blop went on a tear earlier. They don't want a repeat of that situation. Cooler is going to get popped. Other members are forced to jump out here. We are approaching that final checkpoint, and this is starting to look like a very scary mirror of what we saw just about 30 seconds ago.
I can't believe it might happen here. Milo breaking the second checkpoint. Gets in a little bit too aggressive. Finds a big pick. Shutting it down. Prickly Pear is like, no, not like this. We're ending this push right here, right now. But Kata and Henlo, they're 3 here in the corner trying to get back in towards the center, and it might just be too late. But there's still enough time for potentially one more push. They can get a little bit of control of that tower, but they got to win this fight.
Whose side of the map are we on again? This is a crazy position for a pencil player to be in here. We basically flipped the spawns on these maps. Pepe is going to be running towards that, but that is a nearly mutual wipeout? Very rare situation that we're seeing there, but once again we have Shiny riding this tower, getting a lot of bombs chucked at them here. Is going to be just dodging things and stalling for time as much as possible here. It's just once again going to be Splat left onto the side of My Little Henlo. So has to play this kind of carefully, has to stay in this for their entire team once again. Looking like we're finally seeing a Prickly Pear game win very momentarily. Don't want to jinx it though.
Yeah, I would not be shocked if we see ourselves a game 4 here in this situation. I mean, my little Henlo does have the tower. No, that's 2 down. This is looking like a wrap. Prickly Pear shutting this down finally, trying to get back control of that tower. Gets the wipeout and nails the game. Finally, the point going up on the board, turning the score into a 2-1. And now we have ourselves set ourselves a course for a potential reverse 3-0.
Yeah, I suppose that could happen. I do love this. This is the first chance we get to see this here in the set, but the in sync emotes at the end of that game. Always love that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, everyone just like in pose, in position, ready to go, just like they were in position for all of these splats here at the very end. Again, this is where I thought the game was over. I thought it was over, but then Blop comes in, gets 3 splats, and they still can't push it in.
Yeah, it's crazy how things tend to line up with this map, but you have to be in the right place at the right time in order to make some sort of meaningful defense there. And it looks like they understand what the objective was, but when it came down to it, when they were in the exact same position for themselves, they just weren't able to clutch out the exact same alignment. We had the Clash Blaster as the last one alive on the side of my little Henlo, which is probably not the person you want, but we had some jump-ins there, we switched sides of the map, and anything can really happen from this point in, just like what we saw before. So Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker, this one is an absolute classic, but it does have those very strained checkpoints on the right side and left side, I guess, respectively. They're on far sides of the map, and that's the biggest barrier for any given team to get a big push on this map.
Dude, I hate breaking open that first checkpoint. It's like, once you break it open, it's like way easier to get to the end. It's just that checkpoint is just, it's such a narrow place to go,
It's extremely narrow, so a lot of specials and certain playstyles tend to reign supreme here. Bubbles do really good. Anything that can control one specific space for a specific period of time without much contest will be having a good time here. Let's just put it that way.
We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. We're going to jump here into game number 4. Coming here towards the center of the screen again. People just building up their meter. You're going to notice people going over to the corners of the map, just trying to build a meter instead of trying to engage. As I say that, never mind. Got someone getting a little bit too overzealous on the side of Prickly Pear. Going to get knocked down. Turns into a 4v3. That's going to give Milo Henlo the perfect opportunity to start to push in and get something cooking here. But unfortunately, not going to get too high. Oh, there we go. Never mind. Flop's going to be able to get the brush right after grabbing the little bit of some juice there. Trying to paint a pathway for the Rainmaker. But let's see if they can be able to actually find their mark.
Honestly, at this point, I think Flopstoppa is just breaking the fourth wall and trying to give us a good show rather than a short one. Because this is the same person who was playing Clash last game. Not that Octobrush is like a meme weapon or anything, but this is... I
love Octobrush.
This is quite the variety, I will say.
Hey, you know what? Looking for that variety check mark there. Whenever you're playing like the Jeopardy, the double Jeopardy variety, got to be able to get that in as Kata's going to come right back in for another shot there from far away. Not going to be able to find the mark. Still just getting some paint there as Bloat's going to move on towards the left as that Rainmaker sitting there in the center. Broken open by Prickly Pear.
Yeah. We have that checkpoint out of the way for them, which is probably a huge weight off of their shoulders. Now we're looking at Prickly Pear here, trying to maybe mirror the same for themselves. They're kind of forced to pull this Rainmaker back a little bit. Looks like they're going to be trying to take this right route here. A Flopstoppa trying to zip cast their way into stopping this, and that's going to be a Crab Tank pop as well. We're using all the specials just to get them to let go of that Rainmaker.
Yeah, Prickly Pear again pushing it out. That's going to be another... What?
Yeah, it looks like everyone got bunched up into that left corner, really trying to push that Rainmaker there, and just one Crab Tank shot kind of, hydrogen bomb versus baby moment for a second.
Yeah, too many cooks in the kitchen. I always bet on coughing baby, too, and it never works out.
Yeah. Well, we do see a couple specials being held here. Flop Stoppa holding on to that zip cast, kind of waiting once again for the right time to use it there. Hopefully it can be used maybe a bit more aggressively here, but we're kind of in an awkward spot. That Rainmaker, we don't really want to pop it there. We do want to just let it reset, get it into center, where it's going to be a bit easier for us to pick up and less distance to travel while holding the very, vulnerable object. And speaking of hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby, I think we just had the same thing happen there again. Just everybody on that corner at the same time. But like, what can you do? There's like 2 ways to go on this map, and one of them takes 3 years to travel to.
I think they're just trying to like force the issue there a little bit too hard, right? Because they picked it up when everyone was alive. They didn't try to get a pick before picking it up, and they started moving before they get another pick. I feel like you got to be a little bit more conscious of trying to get those kills before. But maybe they're just trying to go for an aggressive strat, but clearly it did not work. So we're going to have to play a little bit more patient there. See, here's the start of something, right? We get 1 pick. Now it's time to pick it up. Now we can try to push this. We got ourselves a 4v3 potentially. We got the crab tank coming out. So more spectrals as well on top of that. Maybe we'll just try to play the tank role there. We got the paint coming in from the hammer, trying to paint away. Unfortunately, so much action happening there in this very narrow hallway, but everyone's jumping back into the thick of things. Hold on.
Yeah, we might just get that pop there once again. That's going to give us enough paint to move forward here. They have to be careful about standing on top of each other, as has been happening before there. That killer whale was quite the sucker for them before. And now hopping onto that ink rail is actually going to move them all the way to that 15-point mark. That is a very solid lead on Humpback, but is safe by no means whatsoever. Like, they got to be careful here. Now, Pepe is going to be the one holding onto this Rainmaker here, is luckily able to make it out of there alive. They want their aggressive players to stay up for as long as possible, especially when you have to make such a big lead in less than a minute. So keeping Pepe here coolered up is going to be great, but you know, we're still stuck at this the checkpoint corner. It's very choky. It's going to be difficult for them to get past this here. So I think ultimately what we're going to be seeing here for the next 40 seconds is very stall-like tactics coming out from the side of My Little Henlo.
As they should, right? Gotta play defensive, but hold on, that's gonna be 2 people down. Shiny finding some picks. They're gonna be able to be the anchor that their team needs. Another pick on top of that. This could be the moment, right? 3v3 situation. Finding a moment. Oh no, they're gonna be able to try to throw out some soda. Unfortunately, didn't get to pick some up, and Flap actually got just stopped. Another revenge splat on top of that. And now Prickly Pear's potential final push of the game. Can they stay alive in this set? I'm seeing a lot of purple.
Oh.
Unfortunately, no. Gonna get shot down. 5 seconds on the clock. Shiny trying to stay alive for their teammates to get 1 final push. They can't break it open, and that's gonna be My Little Henlo taking the set 3-1 simply by keeping that bubble alive there at the very end, denying that final push for them, and then they just nailed themselves a 1-way ticket to grand finals.
Yeah, I mean, hey, seeding is seeding, right? Seeding team, good job. Aside from the one part I disagree with, but you know, I'll keep my opinions to myself. You know, it seems like that's the generally agreed on opinion there. So, I mean, wow, like the defense out of both of these teams was very solid here, but all it takes is just these tiny little windows of opportunity to take a game like this in Rainmaker, and that's really what we saw here. Felt like once they had that 15-point lead, they just opted into holding things as long as possible, and they were successful in holding them off long enough to end that game there. Very clutch pick coming out from that crab tank towards the end, and I do got to give it to My Little Henlo. They really were Florida men for a second there, aside from Lexi.
They were definitely Florida people. Of the people,
Florida, the people of Florida.
The people of Florida definitely showing up here with a dominance, and it's really cool to see them, you know, coming up here, getting that victory over Prickly Pear, going to send them down over to loser side. You got to remember, this is still only double elimination brackets, so Prickly Pear could potentially get a grudge match against them if they can win against them in losers finals. Let's see how the rest of the set's been shaping up. Yo, is that Glove getting a 3-0? New York, yeah. East Coast, East Coast.
All right, buddy. What are we're looking at? Oh, we're looking at Glove. What? No, what are we looking at?
Glove. They got 3-0 in loser semis. They can see
that the set we just watched?
No.
That was the set we just watched before that.
No, we watched Glove versus No Boys Allowed, and they got 3-0. Then they got 3-0 against Sea Battle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was off stream. So like they're in losers bracket and they're getting 3-0 after 3-0. They're gonna push it all the way, my boys. Going far as they possibly can here for New York City, guaranteeing themselves a top 3 finish. So that means there's only 3 teams left in the bracket, right? My Little Henlo, Prickly Pear, and Glub Glub.
Okay, so we've seen it all.
Yeah.
we have seen all the teams.
Yep. That's all
right.
she wrote. Yeah, I think that's it for this stream as well, because I think we're gonna be passing the finals off to the final block of the evening. It's gonna be, I believe, losers finals, followed by grand finals to end off the night. But Siren, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, as always, it's been great. You know, I think they wanted somebody from like every event kind of area to represent here. I'm not totally sure why I'm here, but
yeah, get out of here. What are you doing here, bro? You're in Canada. You're
Canadian
in Canada.
invader here, yeah.
Canadians coming all the way over here to New York City. I mean, we're neighbors. You know, like I can literally get to Toronto in like 3 hours. Like it's so easy.
And why won't you?
You know, it's expensive. Hey
Okay.
guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Don't go anywhere though. We got some more Splatoon action coming your way here. Losers finals coming up next. Don't go anywhere.